Welcome to Comic Power. I am your host, Comic Killer 72. This segment today is called Wicked Wednesday. Every Wednesday is like Christmas for us nerds because that's when the new comics come out. These are my recommendations for the best books to pick up on Wednesday. But here's some other information first. 2017 is the 25th anniversary of the founding of Image Comics, and I want to congratulate them for that. Great job, guys. On the movie casting front, it's been wild and crazy about who's going to play Cable in the Deadpool sequel, with all types of rumors flying around, including Michael Shannon, who played General Zod in the Superman movie, and Brad Pitt, of all people. I made not just one, but two rumor mill videos about Cable and who will be playing him. One on January 17th and another on March 22nd. Go to my playlist and click on Rumor Mill and watch those again. At the making of this video, nothing has been confirmed on who is going to be actually playing Cable, but they did confirm Domino, who will be played by Zazie Beetz from the hit show Atlanta on FX. The casting of Cable is such big news, I think they will save that to Comic-Con, which means 4 more months of speculating on who's going to play Cable. These rumors have gotten so outrageous now that maybe Donald Trump will be considered for Cable. But anyway, let's get back to what we came here today for, and that's New Comic Day. And DC Comics has given us Dark Knight 3, The Master Race, number 8 of a 9-part series. This is the Max miniseries that's written by legend Frank Miller and drawn by Andy Kubert. Of course, there's going to be a gazillion variants for this, including Frank Miller himself. He's like the Picasso of comic books. With age, he's just getting more and more abstract. Please note, the cover price for this title is $6 and even more for the variants. They can charge whatever they want because it's Frank Miller doing Batman. They know you're going to buy it. Next up is Batgirl Annual number 1. In this adventure, she teams up with Supergirl to break into Arkham Asylum. This too has a higher price than their typical book at $5. Next up is Unfollow number 17 from Vertigo, which is a division of DC Comics. I've been talking about this title nonstop since it came out in late 2015. The writer on this is Rob Williams, who's also the writer of Suicide Squad. For full plot details, watch my top 10 comics of 2015 video released on January 18th, 2016, 3 minutes and 32 seconds in. DC plans on turning this into a television show on ABC in the future. So you should be reading this and don't get caught dead without Unfollow number 1. You can pick up one for about the average of $10 on eBay right now. Get it while it's cheap. It's the first appearance of many ensemble characters in this comic. Next up is Teen Titans by Jeff Johns. I talked about this before, but it actually got pushed back. Jeff rose through the ranks of DC really fast, and now he's sort of like the Kevin Feige of the DC movie division. He's been promoted to that job now. This trade paperback sells for $30, and it includes Teen Titans number 1/2, Teen Titans 1 through 12, and Teen Titans Outside Secret Files number 1. Jeff oversaw Rebirth and it was a smashing success. Now he's in charge of the movies and it's his job to clean up what Zack Snyder has ruined. I'm sorry DC loyalists, but those movies just were not that good. Now it's Jeff Johns to the rescue. Next up, let's see what Marvel is up to. And that's going to be Thanos number 5. He's the big bad in the MCU where all the movies are leading up to. But only hardcore comic book readers really know who he is. So an ongoing title expressing what his motivations are, what makes him tick, those type of things are necessary to give new fans who've only been watching the movies some background on the character. Thanos' first appearance is in Iron Man number 55 back in 1973, right along with Drax the Destroyer and Star Fox. This week's Thanos number 5 also has a Venomized variant. I am not a fan of them, but if you like them, it's your choice. Next up is Black Widow number 12, and this has been a very good title for a very long time. Marvel was refusing to give us a Black Widow movie, so if you want further adventures of the character, this is the best thing you're going to get, but it's a good one. It delivers great action and espionage and very clever writing. Next up is The Mighty Captain Marvel number 3. Marvel doesn't seem to know what to do with this character since Kelly Sue DeConnick left, who was the creator and writer of this version of Captain Marvel. They're throwing a Venom cover for this one that's designed by Clayton Crane as well. The Captain Marvel movie will be good, but the comic version is stumbling until they find another capable writer and a rogues gallery that is worthy of her power set. Next up is Ghost Rider number 5, and the Robbie Reyes version of Ghost Rider hasn't caught on the way Marvel expected, and there are rumors of cancellation, so if you want to keep this going, you need to start buying it. This is the conclusion of the storyline where he teams up with Silk, the Totally Awesome Hulk, and X-23, aka Wolverine. Next up is the Resurrection story arc about what happens after the war between the Inhumans and the X-Men, and Marvel just can't help themselves. They have to misspell stuff to put an X in there. First up in that is All New X-Men number 19. This is the issue where they reunite all 5 of the original X-Men members: Jean Grey, Beast, Iceman, Angel, and Cyclops. Next up is the Inhumans Prime #1. This is a double-sized issue that's going to retail for $5. It goes over the trial of Maximus, the coming of Marvel Boy, and what secret does Black Bolt hold. If you're not that familiar with the Inhumans, think of them as Game of Thrones, but the superhero version. There will be many variants for this. The best one is going to be this Jack Kirby 100th birthday variant. He's the co-creator of the Inhumans and countless other Marvel characters. He passed away in 1994. Had he lived, he would have been 100 years old this year. Jack Kirby, the king of comics, all praises due. Next up is the speculation pick of the week. And that's going to be X-Men Prime #1. In this issue, Kitty Pryde returns to lead the X-Men. As stated before, this is an oversized $5 issue that is connected to Resurrection. And there's going to be a lot of variants, including this Elizabeth Torque connecting variant. Quite honestly, this is probably the weakest week this year so far in terms of speculation. There's some good titles, but there's no slam dunk this week. But it does seem that Marvel wants Kitty Pryde to be a major character, because it seems like Storm would be the next candidate that would lead the X-Men. We'll see in the future just how important Kitty's going to be. Next up is our report on independent comics and small publishers. First up is Quantum Teens Are Go #2 from Black Mass Studios. It's a story of two teens that break into super labs looking to steal parts to build a time machine. Next up is Space Riders Galaxy of Brutality #1. This is the follow-up to the 2015 miniseries, which sold out and went up in value. With the success of We Can Never Go Home for Black Mask, all their other titles got a second look, and Space Riders benefited from that. It's a real acid trip type of space adventure. Next up is HenchGirl, the trade paperback on Darkhorse Comics. HenchGirl was originally self-published by Kristen Gutznick, who is the writer, creator, and artist of this character. It got exposed to a larger audience when Tiny Scout Comics picked it up. It found its audience, and now it's moving on to Darkhorse Comics, and they're going to reprint issues 1 through 11 from the Scout Comics version into this one trade paperback, and HenchGirl will be published in Darkhorse Comics going forward. So it's going to be a new #1 coming out soon for it. Just like The Tick before it, it's a very good spoof on superheroes. Issue #1 and #2 are still in demand because the print run is so low. It's rumored to be below 3,000 copies on both of these issues. Next up is Doc Savage, Ring of Fire #1 on Dynamite Comics. This character was created in 1933, and he's a pulp hero that predates Superman. He's being published on Dynamite through license. He's a big influence on the Hulk, a big strong guy who seems to rip through his shirts but not his pants, which is actually pretty funny if you think about it. If you look how the Hulk was depicted in the 1960s, it looks a lot like Doc Savage meets Frankenstein. Next up is Comic Book History of Comics #5 of a 6-part miniseries from IDW. The title is exactly what it is. It's a comic book depiction of the history of comics broken down. This cover is showing Stan Lee. In his hand, he's holding Steve Ditko, the co-creator, designer, and artist of the first 38 issues of Spider-Man, and on the ground is Jack Kirby with the pencil in his hand. The cover is also a homage to Fantastic Four #1, released in 1961. This was Marvel's reintroduction into comics, and they eventually took over as the #1 publisher over DC. Next up is Peepland, issue #5 of a 5-part miniseries, and this is the finale. It's from Hard Case Crime, which is a division of Titan Comics. It's a murder mystery that takes place in New York's Red Light District in 1986. It's very well executed. If you missed it, you might want to pick up the trade paperback when it comes out. Next up is Karma Police #1 from Vault Comics. Vault looks like Black Mask back in 2015, and that it has a hit comic. For Black Mask, it was We Can Never Go Home, and for Vault, it's going to be Heathen. I don't know if you've been looking at the prices on eBay, but the prices on that are climbing fast because the print run was just under 3,000 copies, and people really liked it. So Karma Police could benefit from that, and that speculators are looking for the next hit from a tiny publisher, and the goodwill that Heathen gave them makes people want to try out something else from Vault Comics, so this could win by association. Next up, let's see what Valiant is up to, and that's going to be Divinity III The Stalinverse, issue 4 of a 4-part miniseries. Calling this a comic book is not giving it justice. It's top-tier science fiction. In this alternative reality, all the Valiant heroes are card-carrying communists and warriors for the Soviet Union. If you missed it, please, please, please get the trade paperback. Matt Kent is a genius writer. He's the co-creator and writer of the Divinity character. I've been talking about it nonstop since 2015, so you should be on board. If you're not, I don't know what you're waiting on. How about a Divinity Explained video? If you like that, please speak up in the comments section. Next up is Generation Zero #8. This is a group of superpowered teens that travel city to city helping out other young people. They're sort of like the A-Team. If you can find them, they can help. Next up is Ninjak number 25. This is also written by Matt Kent, proving he's a very busy guy. Ninjak is a British spy ninja warrior. Just imagine if James Bond was a ninja with Frank Miller Daredevil mysticism with some Batman gadgets thrown in. In this storyline, he must team up with his enemies, the Shadow 7, to fight a common enemy in Master Dark. Master Dark would be sort of like an evil Doctor Strange. So your hands are going to be full taking on that guy. You're going to need a lot of help. Ninjak, without a doubt, is one of the best sci-fi, action, mystical, and martial arts books that you're not reading. But you should be. It's awesome. Before we close, let's see what Image is up to. And that's going to be Deadly Class number 27. Rick Remender is the writer on this. He got some success with 7 to Eternity in 2016, but he's had several books that had critical acclaim way before that. Deadly Class is a story of where crime families send the next generation of assassins to get trained. It's been optioned for a television show, but time will tell if it ever makes it to TV. Next up is Hadrian's Wall, issue number 5 of an 8-part miniseries, and it is absolutely underrated. The art and writing is spectacular. A pill-popping detective named Simon Moore must travel to outer space to a space station to investigate the space station crew after one of the astronauts is murdered. Next up is Lazarus number 26. This is dystopian sci-fi with a strong female lead, which has been done a lot lately, but Greg Rooker's take on it is very interesting. Forever Carlyle is the enforcer of the Carlyle family. And starting issue 1, she's starting to rethink her duty and start questioning what she's been trained to do. If you're a fan of the Hunger Games, you should be reading this. Next up is Moonshine number 6. This is a Prohibition era crime drama, but with a science fiction werewolf subplot. If you like either one of those genres, it's pretty interesting to see them mashed together. Next up is Old Guard number 2. This is the story of immortal mercenaries. The writer on Lazarus is also the writer on this, Greg Rooker. That guy's pretty good. The Women's History Month variant is done by Nicholas Scott, who's definitely on my top 10 of favorite female artists. The Old Guard number 1 was my spec pick of the week for February 22nd, 2017. And it looks like I nailed it that this would be a hit because it's going to a second print, which is also coming out this week. Old Guard is a new book that's worth your time. And last but not least is Saga, trade paperback number 7. This is going to collect issues number 37 through 42 of this space opera. And this book is probably the most important title released in the 2010s to the present. Written by Brian K. Vaughan and drawn by Fiona Staples and co-created by both. I describe it as Romeo and Juliet meets Star Wars. It's phenomenal, and the trade paperback format allows you to catch up on what's going on if you're not catching it month to month. That's about it for today. Thank you for watching Wicked Wednesday, where I review all the new comic books for a new comic day. Be sure to follow my blog at comicpower.net. On social media, follow me at facebook.com/comicpower.net and comicpower-universe.tumblr.com. And don't forget twitter.com/comicpowersub. I also sell comics on eBay at this link. This is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye. And don't forget to share this video, click on subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and tell everyone you know about this channel to help it grow. Thank you for your support.